we were at Albright. It was championship game, and I don't even remember a lot of what happened with it. I just know I got kicked in the head multiple times. All those kicks to the head caused multiple concussions.
Back in high school, I joined wrestling. We were having a scrimmage with two other schools. We're wrestling, and he repeatedly started elbowing me in the back of the head, and I was confused because that's not a move. Wrestling is about grappling and pinning your opponent, not repeatedly elbowing him in the back of the head. So, first time I didn't really put two and two together, and then the third time it happened, I immediately got up because the whistle was blown, and I had this massive headache.
My soccer team had a game, and I was on the field and this girl kind of ran me, and I didn't have the ball, but she hit me and I fell on the back of my head, and there was cement underneath the turf, and when I fell, it felt weird, but I remember everything, which is unusual for a concussion. But I got back up and I'm like, well, I guess I'll be okay, and so I stood up and I played the rest of the game. I did a few headers. But then after the game, I knew something was off, because usually I can shake it off.
It's hard. It's not like somebody has an ankle injury that can't physically perform. But when a player is I can do it, I'm ready, put me in, you really have to rely on your training staff and the rules that are set up so that you don't kind of give in to that kind of pressure. And you're nope. You're done for now. We're going to reevaluate you, because that, again, they might feel fine, but then if they get hit again, it's exponentially worse.
With your arm or your leg, you can still use it, and it might hurt a little bit, but you can still use it. You can't just not use your brain for however long it takes to heal.
Your brain will first slide to that direction of the skull, hit off that part of the skull, and then when it jets back, it will hit the opposite direction. First part is the coupe when it first hits, and then the second impact is called the contra coupe.
When you don't know, I think it's really important to be more cautious and what is this going to mean in the future for this person's brain. I think that it's easy to have been brushed aside because it's not a physical outward sign that someone's brain is hurt in this moment, and so you have to even be a little bit more cautious because you can't see the outward side. You have to pay more attention to all these other ways we do it through a testing question card or doing certain types of tasks, things like that. You really have to pay attention to that. And you have to fight players who want to come back because they say they feel fine, but again, the risk of a second concussion is just so detrimental to their brains, even more so that second impact.
People are learning more. I know in rugby, we always say that's the first thing. We don't care if we lose the entire game. We don't care if we have to play down 10 people.
I think people should be more educated about it. It should be definitely required that coaches are more aware of it as well, because most of the time, though I've seen it in articles, they just say, oh, you're fine, go back to playing, or they'll have them sit out for a game and they'll think they're fine the next day. So
I think that's one of the biggest changes in my coaching career. 10 years ago, you'd be okay, are you feeling all right? You feeling better? You good? Okay, back in there, that kind of thing. And now training staffs are really good and coaches are really good about recognizing the potential of a double, getting hit again at the same time and how that might impact it. So yes, maybe they're feeling that they could adequately play lacrosse in this moment, but the danger of a second impact so close to the first impact would mean no, you're gonna stay out.
Some concussions are inevitable just due to how it happens, but some can be prevented if you strengthen the neck and shoulder muscles, because if they're stronger and if they have more fast twitch fibers, then say in that half-second moment, right when you're about to get hit by something, your neck and shoulder muscles can react and tense up, which kind of braces your head for the impact.
If you think you have a concussion, definitely contact someone, especially your coach or an athletic trainer. I think a lot of athletes shake it off because they don't want to get off the field.
If you have a concussion, if you get a serious hit, get out right away. So I think one thing with concussions is it's hard to kind of know if someone has one unless you sit there and talk to them or you ask them questions and they're honest about their symptoms. Because one thing is, a lot of concussion is just how you're feeling, a lot of your symptoms. And if you're like, oh no, I don't have a headache, I don't feel dizzy, then that athlete's gonna try to stay in. Like, most athletes don't wanna go out, so they're gonna say whatever they can to stay in. So I think we need to come, like, I think we're getting there, and coaches are getting there, where we have like the sideline concussion test now, where they'll make you like say the alphabet backwards. Or I know when I had one earlier last year, they made me count back from 100 by sevens, things like that, and looking at your reaction time. So that like definitely helps, because that's one of the big symptoms. But again, like, it's just hard to figure it out, because how do you know if they're being truthful about their symptoms or how hard they got hit, because you're not that person.
And coming into sports, we do an impact test just so we have like a baseline. It basically tests your reflexes and then your balance. Definitely harder for people with concussions, but they base it on your score without your concussion.
Protocol automatically is to get our trainer to come immediately if you suspect a concussion. If it is a concussion, then that player is done until they're symptom free, so they don't come back onto the field, and that might be a week, 2 weeks, depending on how long it takes for them to be symptom free.
Because I know some girls that will shake it off and say that they just have a small headache, they're fine, and then a few weeks later they're out for the whole season. But it's best to be safe than sorry. I know it's hard, especially because you love the sport, but you also have to take care of yourself.